So this is the last um, Thursday night fly tying session, session, um, and it's kind of a open night. Um, well, I'd like to thank Art Haney for handing me the materials and hooks. I kind of feel bad because I tried. He's been talking to me about this fly for a while, and I was trying to find a time we could fit it in to do a demo on it. Um, I looked at the YouTube video on how they tied them, but he had the materials and hooks and everything, and he was trying to get them to me, and I was too busy and really couldn't get them from him. So we finally tried to set up a time, and I was telling him, I think it was on Monday, I was or Tuesday, I was telling him today's kind of crazy. If we could meet, and I meant to say if we could meet tomorrow, but I said if we could meet at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, whatever, at a certain place, then I could get the materials from him. So I ended up going home and doing what I had to do. And I later on I looked at my emails and I saw that he was trying to get in touch with me and voicemails and stuff. Oh, I was mowing. And I saw that he was trying to get in touch with me, and he said, I can be here till 3:30, and uh, this was like 5 something. So I ended up standing him up because I didn't put yesterday or tomorrow, I mean, in the email. So anyway, I met him up the next day and got the materials. And I really appreciate him introducing me to this fly because I think it'll really be good. And also, let me go to the right camera. The materials. So this this fly is basically done with very few materials. This is pretty much it right here. I have some lead wire and the hook, and of course we're going to need thread. But other than that, it's a relatively easy fly to tie. Um, what we're after is kind of a representation of like a bass worm, the Senko fly is what it's called, Senko. If you want to look it up. Um, the material that I showed there is called Bohemian Chenille, and um, it's made by Patons, Patons. But I've seen some videos of people looking from like maybe um, a drone or something like that, looking from above at a white one of these, where they're pulling it through the water and it's just swimming through there, and it looks like it's really alive. Um, the hook that this is tied on is a little bit small for what this material is in bulk, but something that I think is really key on this is the front here, probably the front half here, is thicker material, and this is just the one strand, so it's able to move around real easy in the water. But the key, I think, is that there's some tension here, and so that can be slid up to be weedless against the point of the hook. So I'm going to tie this on a bigger hook, and I haven't practiced this, so um, you'll have to bear with me. He put a little bit of bling on there, and his lead wraps are covered with a um, like a green um, paint. The best hook to use for this, and I didn't look outside to see if I have any. This is actually a 1/0, and the research I was able to um, find online they're basically saying that about a 1/0 hook is about um, as small as you want to go for this material. Um, this is a this is actually an Arex. I'll hold the label up there if you can see that. Is that zoomed in enough? I need to spotlight myself. Hang on, in case everybody's in. There we go. Um, Swim bait hook, predator swim bait hook. But if you look at that, that's basically any plastic worm bass hook. And then for the material, I'm going to switch to the other camera actually for this. First, I want to kind of look at how long I want that tail to be. So if I take this material and I kind of hold it back, say I want the tail to be that long once it's finished, I'm going to mark it with, that pinch. And then I'm going to come back and take actually, go to the end here, and then actually make it to where I have 3 lengths worth of that material. And then I'll cut it right there. And the first thing you want to do, which I did not grab my, hang on one second. I did not grab my fire. First thing you want to do when you cut that is to singe the ends of it, because that stuff will unravel. It's got a cord just like any chenille. But if you singe it like that, that'll, so there's my piece. This is the end that you gave me. So I've got both ends singed now, and I've got 3 lengths of what I want to have for the size of the fly. So I'm going to move all that out of the way. And by the way, this was designed by Rich, at least what I was able to find, Rich McGilligan from the Illinois Smallmouth Alliance. You definitely want to use a stout thread. So at least 140 denier. A gel spun thread would be good. Just something that won't break, because you really have a lot of with this bulky material, this bulky chenille, it's really has a lot of mass to it, and so you need a strong thread to tie that down. I'm going to start, move it this way a little bit. I'm going to start my thread down here, and I want to put a little bit of lead weight on there. So first I'm going to put I'm using actually a Kevlar thread, just to make sure it doesn't get broken, and I can tie everything down good. Might not be a bad idea if you have one that has like a bright color, just to get a little contrast. But I'm going to add some weight, and I think probably the best place to put that weight is going to be maybe even on this flat section right here. I'm experimenting. So I'm going to take a couple turns to just hold this lead in place. And then I'm going to start wrapping. 10. 10's a nice even number. And then I'm going to wrap over those wraps. I squeezed them down tight, if you notice that. And then I'm going to come up to the end, and then I just want to tie off that butt end right there. And then holding my thread real tight, I'll just kind of worry that off. Then I didn't waste any lead wire. A lot of people that use lead wire, they cut a piece, put it on there, and then they have a piece at the beginning and a piece at the end that they cut off. I'm just going to kind of cover this with thread wraps first. And then if you kind of see, I think you can see that. It's a little shiny there. I don't know if that's better. I'm just basically wrapping over that so it's kind of covered. And then I'm going to take a little bit of dubbing that kind of goes with, I'm going to dress this up and make it cool. I just don't want that lead wire section to be showing. I'm going to cover it with some dubbing. Zoom out some. I'm definitely going to use this on Portal, and Portal I bet has water in it now. But Big Elk definitely has a lot of smallmouth in it. I'm going to use it there, and I will try it at Prairie and maybe Walnut Creek. The good thing about this is it's basically a weedless fly, but the bad thing is, like I was saying before we started, even though it's weedless and you're not going to catch it in the weeds, you still have to bring that bass in through the thick weeds. So have to be careful there. Just a little bit more, I think, just to cover that lead, and then we'll get into it. All right, now I'm going to go up, actually right up that length right there. I think with this being Kevlar thread, I'm not going to have to worry too much about it. I'm going to stay a little bit back from the eye because what we're going to do now is take this this chenille, and I want to kind of lay it out and make sure I have my proportions right, which I do. So this is going to be my tail, and this is going to hang out past the bend of the hook. So the way I tie this in, I'm going to have a real long piece and a short piece. The short piece is going to be the tail, and the long piece is going to be where I actually wrap it around and do all the business with it. So first thing I did was wrap the thread over and then bring it to where my chenille is going straight. Then I'm going to just take some real tight turns and tie that down. And then I want that short piece to be on one side of the hook and the long piece to be on the other. I'm going to make a few turns here toward the front, and then I'll probably do a half hitch just to, that's kind of a big, let me do a half hitch with a whip finish tool. Just to hold my thread tight. So now I'm going to take this real fancy Swiss material clip, and I'm going to put one side of the chenille on one side and one on the other side. And then I'm going to clamp it right here. So I got about 9 inches here and 5 inches here. So that's a 9 or 5 worm. That's for Paul. So I'm going to take this chenille and real tightly, I'm going to take about 6 turns toward the tail. And these are touching turns. I don't want them to be like spreading all the way out to the end of the tail. I'm just taking these. Four, 5, 6. Now I'm going to take, now that I have that done there, I'm going to come back, and you don't have to necessarily take 6 turns back, but you do want to go over what you did before. And you want to keep it kind of tight. You don't want this to just be a loose mess that could come unraveled when it's done, later on. So I'm holding that thicker part there. And I want to make one good tight turn right against the bend of that hook. And then I'm going to take the clip off. And then I want to take a turn underneath that, let's see, I need to go under the body and go underneath the point of the hook. But I want to snug it back there. And then the rest of the way up, I'm just going to grab this stuff and just keep wrapping it. So you can see why you need that worm hook with the real wide throat. But honestly, this is such a light fly, since it's just chenille and hook, that you could probably get by with a 5 weight. Once it's wet, I don't know what it'll be like. I don't know if you'd want to do maybe a 6 weight to be on the safe side. I'll do a few turns there, and then I'll stroke all this back and make a good head. Again, this is a pretty thick thread, but just kind of dog legging that back so it's real tight against it. And then I think this is actually going to work. Then I'll whip finish. I'll do 5. Pull it tight. Cut my thread, and then cut that end off of there. You can probably kind of pluck away some of that fluff so the eye isn't blocked. Now, if I did this right, I should be able to nope, doggone it, came through. All right. That one failed. Thank God I have one more hook. If you can stand this one more time. Probably not a bad idea to just singe that a little bit. So now I have that tight against the bend of the hook so I can make it weedless like that. And then when the fish bites it, he's going to grab that point of the hook. It's like a rubber worm.
Cool.
Well, that's the best I could do with a couple of YouTube videos and the materials handed to me from Art. So Art, I appreciate it again.
Where did you get that chenille?
Art handed it to me. I believe he's gone.
It's gone.
I
I
think
looked
he-
online for.
I think he was disappointed with my first shot where I didn't get it to work right.
Yeah, I
Um,
looked for Bulgarian chenille online and came up with 0.
Really,
Yeah.
it's
I'll
a
email him and ask him for a source.
I thought he said it was Bohemian chenille.
Bohemian.
Chenille. Oh, well, that explains why I couldn't find it. And
What were you looking for?
Bulgarian.
Bulgarian.
Oh, Bulgarian. Yeah,
Yeah, well, okay.
Bohemian. Maybe you can find it. I think he said he got it at like a local,
Okay.
like Michael's or one of those kind of places. But that's a real good weedless fly. I think my first
Is it a
one.
woven chenille? Is
There
it
it is.
woven or twist? Oh, sorry, Mike. Is it twisted like that, or is that just the natural color of that chenille?
So here's the color of the chenille. It's just
Okay.
striped like that.
Okay.
So if you came in later, basically you make the tail as long as you want it to be, up to about halfway down the hook shank of a worm hook, and then you triple that. So you fold it back and fold it back again, and that's the length you need. I put on some lead wraps to help it sink and covered it with some dubbing. I did this quick this last time, but basically tie it down so that the tail is the length you want it to be. So this is about 5 inches and the rest is 9 inches. So 5 or 9. Just remember Paul Fidelis. And then you take that longer piece and you start at the bend of the hook and you just start wrapping back 6 turns and
Mhm.
come back. And then you make sure you go below the point of the hook, but in this gap, and wrap it around the rest of it.
Oh,
So
okay.
then you can slide it up to make it weedless, slide it back. So the fish would take it and get hooked. And then you could just slide it back and make it weedless again.
Wow, one heck of a bass bug.
Yeah, my thought is maybe a 6 weight, 7 weight if you have it, but I think a 5 weight would do okay.